Now, you know that in the first video of this unit, that is water technology, we discuss first of all the introduction about the unit. That is, first of all, we discuss the importance of the water for the survival of any living organism and the importance of the water in the variety of applications. For example, in the industrial applications, in the agricultural field, or in the domestic use also. It means you know that every process is completely dependent on the water or the quality of the water. Then you know that the water is must be free from any type of the impurity for the complete or the better results of the chemical process. It means if the water contains the impurity, then it will completely disrupts the chemical process or the industrial process or the product quality. Then you know that we discuss the different sources of the water like the rainwater, the surface water and the underground water. Then you know that we discuss the different types of the impurities which are present in the water like the suspended impurities, the dissolved impurities, colloidal impurities and the biological impurities. So overall, from the first video of the introduction of this unit, one thing we understand that first of all the water is very essential in every field of the processing and for the survival of any living organism. Then you know that the water is present in a limited quantity in the nature and the demands are continuously increasing, and that's why it is very essential to treat the wastewater or to remove the impurities from the wastewater to convert it into the pure water. It means it is very essential to maintain both the quality of the water and the quantity of the water for the proper maintenance of the ecosystem. So, you know that in order to maintain the proper quality of the water, that is, in order to remove all the impurities from the wastewater to convert it into the pure water, there are the large number of the methods are available which are included in this unit that we are going to discuss later. Now, there are the different types of the properties of water by which we are able to indicate that whether the water is of the good quality or bad quality. So, these different properties of the water are like the pH of the water, the alkalinity of the water and the hardness of the water. So, today's next topic of this unit after the introduction is about the importance of the pH. So, first of all, a Danish biochemist devised a scale which is known as the pH scale to represent the H plus ion concentration of an aqueous solution. So, this pH value of any aqueous solution is a number that simply represents the acidity or the basicity of the solution. One thing you know that any acid is a substance that donates the hydrogen ions, that is, when in a solution there are the more hydrogen ions than the hydroxide ions, then the solution will be acidic. And in the same way, a base is a substance that gain the hydrogen ions, that is, when in a solution there are the more hydroxide ions than the hydrogen ions, then the solution will be alkaline in nature. It means if in a liquid solution there are the more H plus ions than the OH minus ions, then the solution will be acidic in nature. And if in a solution there are the more OH minus ions as compared to the H plus ions, then the solution will be basic in nature. And if there are the equal concentration of the H plus ions and the OH minus ions, then the solution will be neutral in nature. Now, the important thing is that it is very essential to know whether a given liquid or water or any solution is acidic in nature or basic in nature or neutral in nature. And that's why the one of the property of water by which we are able to determine the acidity or basicity of the liquid solution is the pH. So this pH value is basically detects the concentration of the hydrogen ions in the solution. It means the pH value of any solution is numerically equals to the logarithm of the inverse of the hydrogen ion concentration, and that's why you are observing here the pH of the solution is referred as the negative logarithm of the hydrogen ion. Now, one more thing you are observing here in the formula of the pH, that here it is the negative sign in front of the logarithm of the concentration of the H plus ions. It means one thing you know that more is the concentration of the H plus ions in the solution, more acidic is the solution. Now, due to the presence of this negative sign in the formula, more is the concentration of the H plus ions, lesser will be the pH of the solution. In the same way, if in a solution there are the more concentration of the OH minus ions are present, then you know that the solution will be basic in nature, and that's why the pH value is must be high. So that's why in chemistry the pH is a numeric scale used to specify the acidity or the basicity of an aqueous solution. Then you know that this scale is runs from 0 to 40. So in this scale, if it is located lower on this scale, then it is more acidic, and if it is located higher on this scale, then it is more basic or alkaline in nature. It means, as we discussed previously also, that if there are the more concentration of the H plus ions, then you know that the solution is acidic in nature, and that's why the pH value is so much lesser. And similarly, if there are the more concentration of the OH minus ions in the solution, then you know that the solution is basic in nature, and that's why the pH value is on the higher range. Now, in the pH scale, that is 0 to 14, if the pH of any liquid solution is exactly 7, then it is a neutral solution. That is, there are the equal concentration of the H plus and the OH minus ions. Then, if the pH value is lesser than 7, then it is acidic in nature, and if the pH value is greater than 7, then the solution is basic in nature. And that's why by the help of this property of the water, that is by the help of pH of any liquid or any solution, we are able to determine the one of the quality of the water, that is the acidity or the basicity of the water, which is very essential property of the water in the variety of the applications. Then, one very important thing is that since the pH of water solution or any liquid solution is affected by the chemicals which are present in the water, and since the pH is an important indicator of the water that is changing chemically, and that's why it is one of the very important property in order to show the quality of the water. Then one thing you know that the pH of any neutral solution, or we can say the pH of a pure water that is free from any kind of the impurity, is 7. So in case of the neutral solution, it will have no effect on any litmus solution or any other indicator. While in case of the acidic solution, you know that the pH value is lesser than 7. So in this case, it will turn the blue litmus paper into the red, as well as the methyl orange indicator into the pink, and the phenolphthalein indicator to colorless. Then in the same way, in case of the basic solution, you know that the pH value is greater than 7, and in this case, it will turn the red litmus paper to blue and the methyl orange indicator to yellow, as well as the phenolphthalein indicator to pink, because you know that In case of the phenolphthalein indicator, it gives the pink color in the basic medium, and that's why in the basic solution it shows the pink color. Then you know that the water quality is crucial for all the living things as well as for the agriculture and recreation. Then the optimal pH levels are an essential factor in maintaining the water quality and the healthy ecosystem, and that's why the accurate pH testings helps keep the drinking water and the groundwater safe and helps to protect the aquatic plants and the animals. Then you know that the pH is a critical measurement or the life is depends upon it. For example, the human blood is basic in nature with the pH in between 7.3 to 7.5. So, if the pH of the blood is changes below 7.3 or above 7.5, then it causes the serious health problem or may leads to the death of the body, and that's why the pH of any liquid solution is very essential. Then one thing you observe in the formula of the pH that the pH is reported in the logarithmic units. Each number represents a tenfold change in the acidity or the basicity of the water. It means the water with the pH of 5 is 10 times more acidic than the water having the pH of 6. So, the pH scale is logarithmic and therefore the small changes in the pH value can equate to much larger variations in the practice. For example, a solution at pH 4 is 10 times more acidic than the solution at a pH 5 and 100 times more acidic than the pH at value 6. So, this is why keeping a close eye on the pH value is very important in so many industrial processes because a little change in the pH also can completely disrupt the industrial process. So, since you know that the one of the most important indicator for the water quality is its pH level, and that's why the treatment of the potable water and the wastewater is one of the most important or common application where the pH measurement is used. It means the excessively high and the low pH can be detrimental for the use of water. For example, the water at the lower end of the pH scale, it means the water which is acidic in nature can degrade the pipe or the tapes and allows the toxic materials to seep into the water supply. And if the pH level is too high, that is, if the pH of the water is basic in nature, then it can cause the unpleasant taste. That's why in the wastewater treatment, the pH level must be controlled to ensure the optimal conditions or to achieve the required chemical or the microbial reactions and to ensure that the process runs efficiently. So, when the water is below a pH level of 7, that is, when the water is acidic in nature, then it has a corrosive quality, and this means it could contain the iron, copper, lead, or zinc from the various metals. Then it will have a bitter and metallic taste. So, in general, a water with the low pH could be acidic, soft, and corrosive, and therefore such kind of the acidic water could leach the metal ions from the various kinds of the metals like the iron, manganese, copper, and that's why it has corrosive nature. Then again the water with the pH of above 7, that is the water with the basic in nature, could indicate that the water is hard in nature. So such hard water does not pose any health risk, but it causes the aesthetic problems like it causes the formation of the scale or the precipitate on the various kinds of the piping or other things. Then it decreases the soap value or the detergent value of any kind of the soap and decreases the formation of the foam, and that's why these are the various negative impacts of the change in the pH of water. So almost every industry requires some form of the treatment for the water or the wastewater which is used throughout the production process. So measuring the quality of both the influent and the effluent water is an essential element in determining the efficiency of each process, maintaining the overall quality of the water and ensuring that the process meets the strict regulatory standards governing them. So the one of the key to measure these standards are maintained is through measuring and analyzing the pH level of the water, because you know that the light change in the pH of the water indicates the major variations in the quality of the water, and that's why it is one of the very important property of the water to show the quality of the water. Then you know that the pH of the pure water is 7. So this pH of the water is affected by the several factors. Like you know that when the water is exposed to the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, then this carbon dioxide is reacts with the water and forms the carbonic acid, and that's why it changes the pH of the water from 7 to approximately 5.2. Then you know that the water which moves from the soil or from the rocks also has the different pH due to the different soil composition or due to the different materials which are present in the rock, like the limestone can neutralize the acids while the granite have virtually no effect on the pH of the water. So that's why the different soil composition changes the pH of the water. And the other factor which affects the pH is the amount of plant growth and the organic materials within the body of water, because when these materials decompose, the carbon dioxide is released, which then combines with the water to again form the carbonic acid as we discussed in the first point, and that's why it again changes the pH of the water. Then the third factor which changes the pH of the water is the dumping of the chemicals into the water by the different kinds of the industries or the individuals or the communities, and that's why again it changes the pH of the water. Then the another factor is the amount of the acid precipitation that falls in the water body. It means you know that the acid rain is caused by the nitrogen oxide or the sulfur dioxide, and that's why such kind of the water which contains the acids, that is the acid water, is when mixed in the water bodies in the ground, then again it changes the pH. Now, the important thing is that what are the effects of this change in the pH on the ecosystem? For example, the one of the very important effect of this change in the pH is on the aquatic organisms, because you know that they are very sensitive to the change in the pH. For example, the optimal pH level for the survival of the fish is ranges from 6.5 to 9.0. So at the level outside this range, the fishes or the aquatic organisms are susceptible to the poisoning from the toxic chemicals, and that's why they are at the high risk. Then sometimes this changes in the pH can also cause an overload of the available plant nutrients. So in such situation, there is the excessive plant growth which takes place in the water body, which results in the depletion of the oxygen, which is very harmful for the survival of the fish and results in the death of the aquatic organisms in the depleted oxygen condition. So this phenomena is the eutrophication. Then you know that the proper maintenance of the pH is also very essential in the agricultural field or in case of the soil, because you know that the soil is a complex system that involves many different factors which are affected by the soil pH, like the microbial activity, the fungal growth, the availability of the nutrients and the growth of the root. So under acidic conditions, many minerals in the soil become soluble, releasing the toxic metals such as the aluminium. Then, Some nutrients such as the phosphorus or the molybdenum become less available at the lower pH value. Then under alkaline conditions, the soil can become deficient in the nutrients. For example, the zinc, copper, and that's why the proper maintenance of the pH in case of the soil is also very important for the growth of the crops or for the fertility of the soil. Then for the survival of the plants also, you know that the most of the plants tends to do the best in the pH range of approximately 6.0 to 7.0, which is the range over which the most of the nutrients are available in the soil. However, some of the plants prefer more acidic nature or some prefer more basic conditions. So, when the soil pH is outside of the desired range, then the pH can be altered or can be maintained by adding the acidic or the basic materials to the soil. Then you know that in case of the water treatment, whether in treating the drinking water or the wastewater, the pH is very important property. The pH of the drinking water should be between 6.5 to 8.5. Then you know that the low pH drinking water can degrade the pipes and causing the toxic metals such as the copper or lead to leach into the water supply. That's why it has the metallic taste. Then the water with the pH which is too high has the unpleasant taste, and again you know that it decreases the effectiveness of the disinfectant like the chlorine. So in the wastewater treatment, pH is controlled so that the desired chemical or the microbial reactions will proceed efficiently. Now, one thing you know that the chlorine is one of the disinfectant in order to kill the pathogenic microorganisms which are present in the water. Then the other important thing is that the effectiveness of this chlorine disinfectant is decreases in the basic medium or when the pH is increases, and that's why when the pH is too low, then the water becomes irritating to the eyes and nose and it may corrode the metal surfaces. And secondly, when the pH is too high, then again it decreases the effectiveness of the chlorine disinfectant and may become susceptible for the algal growth. So that's why the proper maintenance of the pH is also very essential in the water bodies. Then you know that in the food industry also the pH is measured to taste for the quality of the food, to control the microbial activity, for the preservation of the food and to control the taste and other properties or to prolong the shelf life of the food.